Angelina doko mchero waniro ya Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro ya Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Chiwe mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Ila pe mondo mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Kama ojana mageo Angelina weko mchero waniro Kawara pegana mapiro Angelina weko mchero waniro Kama ojana mageo Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Ila pe mondo mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina doko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro Angelina weko mchero waniro
Angelina, wake up,
Anka mapera na mangeo, anka Angelina wake up Cherwani, anka warapera na mangeo, anka Angelina wake up Cherwani, anka warapera na mangeo, anka Angelina wake up Cherwani.
Yes, one of the most unique sub-counties to unveil for you what we call the Obola dance. Now, very many of you could be asking, what is the Obola dance? Obola dance is actually what we call a royal dance. It's a dance that is danced when, for Buganda, when there would be a king, there's a particular type of dance. When it is for the Batoro, do the Amakondore dance. Yes, when there would be maybe the king of Toro, like Oyo, if he comes around. Now here, the performance they're showing is what we call the Obola dance. This dance is only danced when the chief, yes, that's the one they call the Rot, who happens to be like the king, if you're to call it in Buganda. So for that chiefdom, they have someone called the Rot, and when the Rot is available, that is a particular type of dance that is always performed. You look at the men clad in what we call the ostrich feathers, and at the same time, you hear the drums. The beat is so nice, so much interesting, so amazing, so awesome. Yes, so awesome, so nice. Okay, I shouldn't just use my own words, but you should pick the pitch, listen to the beat, and feel the movements of the feet. The feet are making the beats. The feet are making the flow. The feet are making what we call the groundwork. They're actually redefining what we call the real African culture that was not based on the instruments like the thumb pianos that are using today. Not the thumb pianos, no? The instruments like the keyboards that are using today. Today as we speak, most of the music is produced in the studio. But as we speak, this music today, as we look at it here, is produced using the feet. So much beautiful, so much amazing, so much interesting. So you should also be keen to look at the types of drums being used. Every person has a drum among the men, and the young girls are... has more than 46 languages spoken, and above all, different cultural diversities. Now we're showing you what we call the Acholi culture, the most amazing culture in this Tukitgum, a district away from home. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Good. Your names?
My name's Larry Charles.
Or Lara Charles.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Good. So I would like you to share with them that.
Okay, I come from Param sub-county.
Okay.
Olilim village and Ogetoma clan.
Ogetoma clan.
Yeah.
So you come from Bukedia, they passed by Olilim when they came from Karamoja region. And very many Iteso out there do not actually understand that the first Iteso and the original Iteso actually sat in the area. Mr. Lar for bringing us all the way to Kitgum, that is in the border of Uganda and South Sudan, to pick up what we call the Acholi culture. He's a man all the way from Teso, and whatever you've been watching is courtesy of his great work. And I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. To all the beautiful viewers who are watching us this particular day, I would like to say that you're most welcome to this edition of the Indigenous Beats, your #1 cultural show across the whole of Africa, with me, your host, OLUPO to the African, live here in the capital Kampala, cadets of Record TV, Uganda. I would like to say that for very many of you who have been watching different episodes about the trip to Kitgum from Kampala, and particularly this is pertaining what we brought you in the last 4 segments. I would like to say that what we were trying to do was basically we traveled miles to unearth what we call the hidden Acholi culture. Now Kitgum has a particular tribe called the Acholi people, but I want to begin by giving you a synopsis of how our journey was right from the capital Kampala. Actually from here we left Kampala around 4 a.m. Most of you were actually in the middle of your sleep. That is 4 a.m. early morning, and we decided to pick all our camera crew from different sites, not forgetting to pick up my producer from wherever he was, deep inside of Matuga, that is producer Calypso, and we kept moving until when we reached Kitgum. Now, along our journey, we saw beautiful features that are making Uganda such a great country. One of the beautiful sights that we saw was the Karuma Dam. And for most of you who have never traveled to the northern part of the country or any other part of the country, Uganda has 2 major bridges that you must cross. In case one of you might one time dream of thinking that he can overthrow the government using the gun, you will have via the eastern side to pass through a dam called, not a dam, pass through a river called River Nile, that is in Jinja. Then from the northern part of the country, you will have to go through what we call the Karuma Dam or the Karuma River before you enter into the capital Kampala. Now, we unanimously moved as a team, and the river we saw was a river. We unanimously moved as a team. We passed by Karuma. We saw beautiful, beautiful sights, beautiful birds, beautiful places. And there's a particular place we stopped around Karuma where we had a meal with the local people in, those village kind of restaurants. Actually, by 10 a.m. we were in Karuma. There's a trading center there, and we were in position to have our breakfast. Our breakfast was fish and posho in the morning. Beautiful, beautiful journey, beautiful things, beautiful people. The major languages we're using there were Kiswahili and Acholi. Good that in our crew we had one person who knew the local language more fluently that we kept engaging, Kopango, Kope, those nice things with the beautiful Acholi ladies and the beautiful Acholi people. So off there, after that break, after that resting, we set off now for Gulu town. We moved up to Gulu town, and in Gulu town, we're in position to visit a few areas that we wanted to see. The most important area that was in our hearts within Gulu town was not actually to see the Bank of Uganda branch in Gulu town, was not actually to see the beautiful streets of Gulu town, but we went to see the historical hospital, and that is the Lacho Hospital. We moved there as a crew because this was once one of the greatest hospitals in the history of this country when it came to treating cancer. There are very many testimonies from across the whole country, from across East Africa and from across Africa of great people who were delivered from Lacho Hospital. We don't want to talk about the current changes in which it's no more in the limelight, but we had to get there to at least follow the trademark of the early times of a great hospital. We should also not forget to talk about one particular thing about Ebola, that very many of the doctors struggled in the northern part of the country to save lives. Actually, when we entered Lacho Hospital, we were in position to see the photos of the great people who died saving lives of the Ebola victims, particularly doctors. They're actually engraved in one of the walls in Lacho Hospital. Off from Gulu town, we decided to head off to Kitgum town. Now, on our journey to Kitgum town, we saw beautiful places. But we should not forget the fact that in the backs of our minds, we know that northern Uganda was a war-torn area. Northern Uganda had a war-torn season for close to 20 years. In our journey, we saw a setup of camps. Particular areas where there were camps. When you reach those areas, when we reached them, we could have a feeling of loneliness, a feeling of pain. We could share the grief with the northern people in particular sites that we reached. But at the same time, when we entered Kitgum town, we saw a ray of hope. We saw smiles being rewritten in the eyes of the northern people, of the Acholi people. And we had an interaction with different people in a particular setup where we sat. Now, from Kitgum town to the sub-county where we went was quite a long distance because it was costing each one of us, because we had to park our car somewhere and we had to use boda boda. Most of you call it Okada. For most of you who watch Nigerian movies, the Okada. We had to take an Okada to the real deep sub-county where we had to go to the shooting. But we had to use an approximate of 8,000 shillings per head to get deep down there to get for you this coverage from just Kitgum town. Now, that was a picture that was painted in our minds that some areas within Uganda, within Africa, are really so far and so deep that you have to adjust yourself into the practical means that you have to use to get to these localities. Now, when we arrived there, that was now late in the evening. We arrived around 7 o'clock. That's the time we entered home on our borders. What welcome does was fresh air. You know, breathing what they call fresh air with nothing added unto it. Because wherever the home was surrounded by green. Everything was green. The grass was green. The trees were everywhere. I can tell you, the freshness of the place was the greatest highlight of the evening. Now, what was the purpose? What was the focus of our journey? Our major target was to capture how the Acholi marriage is conducted. And in our journey, we're in position to get within our trip how the Acholi culture does its marriage. Now, for most of you come from other parts of the country, for example, the Bugisu people from the Bugisu region, the Basoga people from the eastern part of the country, the Iteso from the districts of Kubi, Soroti, Kabiremaido, Ngora, and so many other related districts. To those who come from the western part of the country, that is the sides of Umbara, Fort Poto, and not forgetting those also who come from central Uganda, you know, the districts are from central Uganda. I would like to teach you something that actually we learned when we went to study how the Acholi people marry. Just to give you a few highlights. The Acholi people, they do their introduction in the night. That was one of the most unique things that I had to explore with the Indigenous Beats crew. The marriage, unlike Uganda and other regions, that is done during day, negotiations are done during day. In the Acholi culture, the in-law or the muko enters the compound in the night. But how does he enter the compound? Actually, the way the in-law, the way the muko enters the compound is totally a whole concept. In other tribes, the bako enter the compound while the whole village is watching, and they actually tag all the bako on their chest as they enter. In the Acholi culture, that is totally something different. In the Acholi culture, the bako have to sneak into the compound. No one should see you entering the compound. Now, what do the hosts who happen to be welcoming you, what do? They are expected to stage young girls in all the corners of the home to wait on guard to see where the bako will come from. Are you getting the picture? Are you getting the angle under which the Choli culture does the marriage? So, as the girls are planted in all the corners to wait for the muko to enter, the muko stays in the bush, strategizing on how he can enter the compound without anyone noticing that he has entered the compound. Now, this comes with a rule. This comes with a cost. Should the muko sneak into the compound without anyone in the home noticing that he has entered the compound, the family of the lady has to pay the bako 200,000 as a fine for failing to notice that he has entered the compound. I want to repeat. I want to use another modified way of simplifying it for you. If I am the muko and I am supposed to enter your compound as the lady right now watching, if I manage to successfully sneak into your compound without the ladies planted in the corners getting to know that I have sneaked into the compound, your family has to pay my family 200,000 cash as a fine of failing to detect that I have entered your compound. That's what happens in the Choli culture. But that does not only apply on the side of the family of the lady paying the fine alone. Should the ladies notice the muko's convoy or the muko's team entering the compound first, a girl who sees the bako first is expected to make an alarm or a ululation. Let me give you a sample. Something of the sort. Yes. He's expected to make an alarm of such a kind, and everyone will look that side knowing that he is coming from that angle. Now, if they see the bako first, what happens is the bako have to pay a fine for having failed to sneak into the compound. They will have to pay a fine of 200,000 cash. Now, before that happens, nothing else can be done. Now, when the bako succeed to enter the compound, for whichever angle, either they have been seen first and they have paid a fine, or they have sneaked successfully and they have been given that money as a fine, the function officially begins with the bako getting outside, and they're supposed to enter inside the house using their knees while crawling. You know what they call crawling? They go and put their knees down and they have to crawl. You know what they call crawling? Like this, until they enter the houses. We would like to say that that is the part we skip, because when we just started the coverage, rain poured. It was too much. Actually, we covered that part in the rain, as you have been seeing in a range of clips that you have been seeing in the previous days. We were soaked in the rain. Bakofa stayed in the cars for quite a while as we're organizing the arrangement on how they could get out. But we managed to capture other moments. Now, while entering inside the house where they were designated to enter, they had to use their knees and they had to sit on the floor. Now, in Buganda, you find, in most cases, when the Bako come, they are treated as great guests. They have to sit on chairs and swell. In the Acholi culture, the Bako have to sit down. You know, sitting down, I would like to give you a sample of how they sit down. The Bako have to sit down like this. And they have to actually be humble on the mat. I know in the course of the show, you'll be seeing clips of how they actually sit. Yes, they sit like this and they wait for the negotiation. Now, the negotiation part is done in two camps. There's a camp for the family of the lady, and there's a camp for the family of men. Now, from the side of the men, they have to choose someone who is supposed to be their intermediate person who coordinates the two camps. Now, the whole night, till an approximate of 3 a.m., they were in negotiations. This camp sits here, they discuss. But we have 8 cows, we have 5 goats, we have this. Then they send their representative to the other camp of the lady to inform them that
do you know what? For us, you have only 8 goats. Then the side of the lady also sits, and they're like, but now, our lady is an educated graduate. She needs an approximate of, these guys have to pay us an approximate of 15 cows. Go tell them, send their representative. That's how the whole night went. Now, immediately, they were done with what we call the negotiation, and they agreed, because in the process of negotiation, there's always disagreement, quarrels, and fights. Immediately they were done with the negotiations. What happened next was jubilation was officially launched. People started celebrating, music was put on loud volume, showing the world that they had now officially welcomed their new son-in-law into the compound. So the celebration was done up to 4 a.m. Then the Bako were given where to sleep. As early as 7 a.m., all houses were open, music was at a high peak, bulls were being slaughtered to be provided for people to have as their lunch. A lot of action was taking place in the compound. The rest of the visitors from far areas were now joining. The whole clan was aware of the fact that everything was through, and now they were ready for celebration. Now, what do I have to teach you here today? I want to teach you something about what happens in that second day. Because in the Chole tradition, marriage is done in 2 days. Unlike other tribes whereby introduction is done in 1 day, actually they begin at midday, or by 1, or by 2, and by 6 p.m. or 7, everything is almost done, dancing and drinking, and by midnight, the Bako leave. In a Chole culture, the marriage is done for 2 days. What does it mean? On the first day of the arrival, the marriage negotiation is done in the night. After that, the following day by 7 a.m. is a celebration day. Not again negotiating, clashing, harassing each other, demeaning each other. No, it's a celebration day. That's the time you see now bigger numbers joining the compound. Dancing begins in the morning. Troops and troops from different angles come and perform different unique dances. Now, in this particular marriage, it happened to be the marriage of a gentleman by the name of Olara Charles. Yes, he happened to be the one marrying an Acholi woman. And why was this more educative? Why was this more creative? Why was this more worthy catching and bringing for you? It's because this particular marriage involved someone of a different tribe marrying an Acholi lady. Olara is an Itesot all the way from Katakwi, that is in eastern Uganda, in a place called Olelim, and he was marrying a lady from the northern part of the country, that is in Kitugum. Now, what we witnessed was, during the celebration, during the daytime, we had a lot of cultural dances. We had what we call the royal dance. That was the Vola dance. It's a royal dance for the Acholi people. At the same time, we had other forms of celebrations that took place. We witnessed how the Acholi people slaughter bulls. At the same time, we also had the trademark of how the Acholi people do their thing in the night. There is what we call a council of elders. It's called the Wang O, where the elders sit around the fire and narrate stories. Where elders sit around the fire and discuss about what they need to see in their clan. This is where they set the fire. People can be eating like genets, people can be eating anything they want, but it's like what they call a clan parliament or a family parliament. This used to be happening in the whole of Africa in those early years, but the Acholi culture decided to retrieve it and bring it back even in this generation. Unlike other tribes that have actually lost track of their culture, the Acholi, these particular marriages have sittings in the night where elders sit around fire and narrate their stories and plan for their families and plan for their people. One other unique thing that we saw from that side was the fact that the Acholi people still enjoy the delicacies out of the wilderness. The Acholi people eat wild rats. Yes. In one of the clips that we showed you and that we are going to show you, just a simple clip, was the fact that we learned the procedure of catching the wild rat, and actually the owners of these activities, the people involved in these activities, say it's such a delicacy to enjoy a wild rat in the Acholi land. We also moved a mile to pick up the types of houses built and occupied by the Acholi people. We took a glimpse at the beautiful caption of the grass thatched houses that are built in the Chole culture, some having poles outside to support the roof, others having no poles outside but having poles inside to support the roofs. Now, very many other things that we enjoyed, including the local traditional drink. I know each region in this country has a particular drink. When you go to the eastern part of the country, it also have what we call the ajon or marua, taken in tubes. When you go to West Nile, the West Nilers have what they call kwete, taken by the Alur and the Lugwera people. When you go to the western part of the country, that is in Barara Bushenyi, yes, in Singiro, you find beautiful and amazing, I would say, you find an amazing drink called bushera or entorire, taken by the Bachiga people. But when you go to the northern part of the country, you find a local bitter drink called arege. Arege is actually what we took the whole night to keep ourselves warm and to keep us in the move of the event.
Angelina, wake up, Angelina, wake up, Angelina, wake up, Angelina, look up, Angelina, wake up, Angelina, wake up,
After a number of days being in the Chole land, after we decided to take a trek from Kampala to the land of the Chole people, we saw a lot of amazing things. We saw the cultural dances, we saw the cultural food, we saw how marriage is done in the Chole land. We saw how they make oil out of shea nuts. Yes, most of you call it shea nuts. Yes, we saw how they make the oil out of it. We even tested the foods. We toured different areas, but there's one thing I would love to tell you about, that wherever you are, if you've never been in the northern part of the country, the Chole people are amazing people. Chole people are awesome people. They have beautiful cultures. They have a tradition to preserve and protect. You should take a trek one time off your comfort zone to go pay a visit at least to either Gulu Town, either Kitugum or any other district in the Chole sub-region. I bet you will never regret. I would like to say thanks and good thanks and good thanks go out to my producer, my major producer, that is Calypso. Yes, they call him Calypso TV. Calypso the man, thank you so much for directing the whole event. And not forgetting my cameraman, that is Chibuke Sam, for being behind the camera. Not forgetting lighting, the man behind the lighting, that is Kalyango David. Thank you for doing the great job. And not forgetting Esports Media for giving us the camera work, giving us all the cameras that we needed to film. Thank you so much for providing all the directions that we needed to take. And not forgetting also all the team behind my makeup, behind my dressing, behind my feeding, behind my security, behind where I slept, back accommodation, behind the transportation. We'd like to say from us and all the crew, we love you so much. Next time we shall be doing another edition, and this time we shall be taking you to Bugisuland, the land of Imbalu. Keep it locked to Indigenous Beats.